In a world of change, where do you belong? The answer's clear, it's time to be strong. Mindful growth, that's where we thrive. With Angela's guidance, watch your best self arrive. Transform with strong, reach for the stars. Resilient minds, that's who we are. Awakening potential, near and far. Angela Armstrong, raising the bar.
Welcome to Transformation Talk with Angela Armstrong. In today's episode, we have a special guest, James. We will be discussing his transformational journey. As a child, he faced something that was very traumatic and it changed him forever. He had to learn how to overcome those challenges and gain more resilience in order to have a successful and fulfilling life. Thank you for joining us, James.
Yes.
James, can you tell us a little about yourself?
I am originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, and I have a long career in law enforcement. I'm still currently in law enforcement now, just in a different capacity. And I'm now basically I'm in Lafayette. That's why I made my base, my home as of now. Pretty much all I'm doing now is if I'm not working, I'm pretty much training. I'm just now pretty much getting to a point in my life to where I think uh, I ain't gonna say beaten back all the obstacles I've had, but I can say that I can handle things a lot more now, uh, due to the stress that I've or mental health issues I've had in the past.
Okay, can you touch on some of those things and how you have coped or managed it, how it's affected you growing up? Like anything that you've dealt with, how have you gotten past it? What methods have you used?
Well, I'm gonna say, for most people, you're dealing with PTSD,
Mhm.
and you're dealing with childhood trauma. I don't think you don't actually ever just totally get past it. It's a constant battle every day, right? Uh, what I find as I've gotten older is it's not so much um it's how I deal with situations or how I deal with the stress rather than just not dealing with it at all, you know. Um like the initial incident that, pretty much got me down this path was when I was 11 years old. My mother was shot and killed by my father. I was 11 and I have a younger brother, he's 9 when all that happened. My father was a police officer. My mom was a registered nurse. So he wasn't, a poor family. I would say we were probably upper middle class. We had everything we wanted, everything we needed, plus some of the things we wanted. Uh, I remember the day it happened. I was just getting back home from, I think we are going. Well, I was getting ready to start the following school year. We were going to we were going shopping for school clothes. So that's what we were doing that day. When we came to the house, me and my brother was like baking a pizza or watching some kind of movie. And my mom and dad were back. Didn't even hear them argue. Didn't hear nothing. All I heard was 3 gunshots. And I ran back there and I kind of saw the aftermath of what happened. Then we were told to leave. We were sent to our neighbor across the street house. I'm trying to remember all this, because sometimes I think your brain protects you from these memories. So, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. Um, I remember going across the street to my neighbor's house. I remember um, them after a long, seemed like forever. I remember them bringing my mom out on a gurney to pump on her stomach. Um, and then I kind of, that day was kind of a blur. So everything I've gone through in life has kind of stemmed from that. As far as, you know, I went from being a happy-go-lucky 11-year-old kid to basically a grown man mentality in like basically a day. You know, I was treated different from my brother. I mean, for the reason I didn't feel like the people that around me didn't care anything about me. I didn't get help mentally. Uh, Now I might talk to a counselor once or twice, but that was nowhere near enough. I mean, people thought I was okay. I guess I was an athlete. I played football. I ended up finding my way into martial arts. So I was doing so much things physically, and I didn't show any outward signs of having issues. But they were always there mentally. I didn't have help with them. I spent probably my freshman year of high school. As I remember, my whole freshman year, I was still going to court, uh, testifying against my father to put him away in prison for the rest of his life. I was doing that while going to school. That was I remember my freshman year of my freshman year of high school. That's what I was doing. So all those things, not having parents, not having a father figure, um, having anger issues. I had all those things. I just feel like I was lucky. I found martial arts. There was a school right by my house that I would go to. Um, didn't have any money for lessons, but I would go there. He would let me train for free. I would clean up for him, just do stuff around the dojo, and that's how I got my start in it. That's really what helped me. Starting off, I kind of channeled all my energy into that. I was a good football player. I love lifting weights. I was a power lifter. So anything that I could physically put my energy into, that's kind of what I did. So I never got in trouble in school. I didn't get into fights. I didn't try to hurt other people. But I also don't believe none of those things. They were just putting band-aids over an issue. None of those things um, were a permanent fix. However, on the outside looking in, since I was doing all those things, people thought, oh, he must be okay. But I wasn't okay. I was just keep him busy to keep from having to deal with what was actually going on.
I'm glad you touched on the fact that you never get over it. You It's something that you're constantly dealing with, and you just
Hmm.
learn to cope. People think that people that don't have issues, or think that they don't have issues, they they always say get over it, right?
Yeah,
There is no.
everybody. Yeah, people. I've been in relationships or whatever with people, and you find out as you get older, a lot of people have issues, right?
Yeah.
The issues might not be what your issues are; it might be something else.
Yeah.
But it's hard for people to take on your problems if they have their own problems as well, right?
Yeah.
And something as severe as some of my things were, people would say, and I was guilty of this myself. I'm guilty of it now. I would say, man, just get over it. But then I have to catch myself, like, you know what? Even though their problem might not be as severe as what I think, you should be things you should be worried about. For them, that's a problem. So
Yeah.
I should tell them to just get over it because I mean, people just tell me that, even though maybe as an adult, when I was trying to find help, when I was, trying to talk to people who I thought cared about me, we realize that people they really don't. You People assume that you can just get over it.
Mhm.
You can't just get over it. It's a process, right? And everybody's process is different, right?
Yeah.
But the process there is indeed a process, and you cannot do it without counseling. You can't. You can say, "Well, I can go. I can take this physical stance. I'm gonna lift weights. I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna do all this physical things." But that's a band-aid, right? That's just a temporary fix. It's almost like working out and the trainer became like how a drug addict, or alcoholic uses that to mask his pain. I was using that to mask my pain, right? I was using the gym. I was using, working. I was using anything I can do to keep myself busy. I would use that instead of just sitting down and focusing on the thing I need to focus on. And and what you just said is, man, it's come correct. People think who don't deal with PTSD, who have not had to deal with kind of mental stress or any kind of severe trauma. And even people that might have, they just they might think they've healed in their own right, but for them, they really haven't. They just think they have, you
Yeah.
know, and they think that you should just be able to just get past it, and you just never truly really do. You just like you say, like we've said, we cope with it differently, right? So um, I can recognize myself now that I've gone through counseling and done all those things. I don't take medications or anything like that anymore. I have several counselors, two that I can talk to. I don't need to lean on them as much as I used to, but now I can almost kind of feel it, the sense of it myself. Depression is something that we don't know. I don't think they even have figured out, and you may correct me if I'm wrong. They even figured out, what the onsets of depression are. I can't tell you what triggers my depression. I can tell you I could be completely happy. I can just and I can just feel depressed out of nowhere, and then I can just come out of it out of nowhere.
Mm.
Nothing negative has to be going on for me to be depressed. I don't know. I don't think they've even figured out what it is. And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just kind of anomaly in some cases.
I think with everyone, it starts different. Our triggers are all different. So what may trigger you may not trigger somebody else. And then it can also be nothing is triggering it. You just it just comes. It just like you just feel it. Like you say, you're happy go lucky, and then you just you're just sad. So
Yeah. And then people don't like your significant other, your spouse, whatever the case may be. They don't really understand. It puts a strain on your relationship with that person because I know for me personally, I didn't even know what was going on with me. Like
mhm,
I had no idea why I was acting the way I was acting. I didn't know anything about PTSD. I just knew that all these years I've been able to kind of cope with things, but all of a sudden I just couldn't anymore. All of a sudden things that I thought I had dealt with, I couldn't deal with them anymore. All of a sudden things were making me angry. The things that I would normally be able to kind of push it aside, now I would get mad about things. My behavior changed in a way that I did not like in myself.
mhm,
So I realized I had to get help, you know. And a relationship I was in at the time, that young lady, she kind of, noticed it. And of course, she put me in a direction to get help. Now we didn't stay together, but she did at least help me get started on that journey, you know. And that's people's choice, maybe some people can't deal with all that, deal with everything, and I understand, that's not what some people sign on for. Now, that being said, that's just not the person for you if they can't. But um, that's that person's choice. But I do appreciate her getting me started in the right direction.
mhm. Yeah. Well, one thing about depression and PTSD, sometimes people can notice something's wrong, but
Mhm.
they can't pinpoint it themselves, or e- especially if they haven't been diagnosed. But sometimes they'll know something's wrong and they'll say, okay. But it's also up to us to figure out, okay, we need help. But
Mhm.
when we figure it out is when it happens. Like there's no set time. I know for me, I think I can do everything myself, and it
Mhm.
took me a long time for me to get help for my PTSD, anxiety, and depression. It wasn't until 2017 that I got officially diagnosed, and I went to
Mhm.
the doctor, and I just say, "Hey, I need something to help me focus." And next thing I know, the captain comes and takes me to the mental health place. Like
Mhm.
for me, it was just that simple because I noticed that I wasn't focusing. I couldn't focus on accomplishing things that I had been accomplishing just fine. When things happen and they happen right on top of each other, that's
Mhm.
when it gets to us the most. Let me go talk to somebody and figure out how to get this help that I need.
And that analogy you gave, so I look at martial arts and that they help with that, you
Mhm.
know. So Um, you just said when things stack onto each other, right?
Yeah.
So how I look at that is your opponent. We train people how to fight, right?
Yeah.
But you training a mentality, not not so much, and not really training somebody to fight another person. And that you are training to fight another person, but at the same time, you're cultivating a mentality. Okay, I'm going to fight through this adversity. I'm gonna fight through this challenge. In your regular life, that challenge could be one obstacle after another, after another, after another, right? A stack on top of each other. So you're sitting there, you're looking at, man, all these problems just stacked up to here, right?
Hmm.
How can I get over that? How can I defeat that obstacle? How can I fight against that opponent per se, right? And it looks insurmountable because we're looking at them stacked on top of each other. Well, what I've realized I gotta do is focus on one problem at a time,
Yes.
right? So if you in your dojo and you like we do some call here, we do some call, and I take that lesson and I explain it to my students before we do it. I said, this is not about you getting beat up by several people. Because we do some call of round robin or bull in the ring,
Yeah.
maybe you might call it that where you go. Well, you're in the middle, right? The opponents they come at you one at a time, okay?
Hmm.
So each time you have to stop, and when that opponent or i.e. obstacle attacks you, you have to do something to defend yourself against that opponent, right? You might be in the ring, you might be in the middle for the 2 minutes straight, but it might be 3 or 4 people attacking you in those 2 minutes. And you have to adjust. Each person gonna be different size, gonna be different speed, strength, fighting style. You got to
Hmm.
adjust each one as they come. You got to do that on the wheel,
Yeah.
right? You can take that same mentality and do things in life itself, right? I gotta pay this bill. Let's attack that problem. Let's attack that opponent, right? Let's get that done. The next one, oh, my car broke down. Okay, now let's get that taken care of. Oh, my kids are doing bad in school, or they had an issue at school. Okay, now that's the next thing. Let's get that taken care of. And soon we just taking those opponents, those obstacles that fight to each thing. And soon you look up, you're past the threshold of your obstacle. That's how I started looking at things, and that what helps me. I ain't saying it's gonna help everybody else. It's the fight. And I don't mean a physical fight. It's a mental fight. It's uh that mentality that we're trying to train and get things. And hopefully they can find it, that motivation. And maybe me talking here today, reading a book about somebody else, or whatever the case may be. But that's my main reason for sitting down and sharing my my story and my methods, because maybe that might be something somebody else can use.
Yeah. Most of the time we keep quiet about what we're dealing with because I did that for a long time. I kept everything to myself, and something happened with work, and I realized I need to say something because I'm quiet. So sometimes people take that as a weakness. So if I don't speak up, then they just keep coming and keep coming and keep railroading. So it got to the point to where I said, okay, you know what? I'm seeing other people go through this. Other people are coming to me because they're dealing with these types of situations as well. So it's time to speak up. It's time to figure out a way to help other people. One thing I've learned is that when you deal with trauma, especially as a child, like you have and like I have, you you grow up with those traumas, and sometimes you turn to bad and sometimes you turn to good. You're either going to do one of the other. So I'm glad to see that you you use your trauma to be better, to become better. I've known you for a long time, and I can see the changes that you've made in yourself. I can see the growth, and I do want to say that and let you know that I see that, and that I'm glad that you're helping other people to get better and sharing your story.
I mean, the thing I want most is for people to have understanding, right? Because there are so many people. that are going through this same type of stuff, right? The same might not be the exact issue, it might not be the exact thing that caused it,
Yes.
but it's the same end result, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's traumatizing to them. They don't know what to do. They want to deal with it. Say you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or something, and they just don't understand what you're going through, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So because they don't understand it, and it's not the ideal situation for them, so they just break away from a relationship. They just go deal with somebody else. They think it's easier to deal with, right? So, and then what does that do to the person with that's going through the trauma? How they feel? That just makes them feel like they're even more worthless. So, I'm gonna tell you, it was the Christmas before last Christmas. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I was the holidays. I was very, very down, all by myself. You know, I had been giving away. I started giving away. I mean, I had a few $1,000s in the bank. I saved up. I gave it all away. I was going around to homeless people, giving them $100 bills. I had, swords, martial arts stuff. I had, my video games, my play. I gave all that stuff away. My plan was my birthday was coming up in December because it's right before Christmas. My plan was to not be here. So I I'm thinking back on it now. I just can't believe I let myself get to that point before I started actually, getting help.
Mm-hmm.
So, I cut my hair. I went and bought some fresh clothes. I wanted to be dressed nicely when they found my body. Correct. I had
Mm-hmm.
written letters to several people, um, explaining to them instructions of what I wanted to be done with what I had left. I hadn't mailed them off yet. I had a pretty nice place, so I had my TV was there. I was on my I had another sofa over there, and in that sofa over here, I had a bag full of these. I had written letters to everybody, explaining to them why I did what I did. I left instructions for them. I was dressed in my best clothes that I had bought. I had a fresh haircut. I wanted to make sure that when they found me, I wasn't. And I cleaned my house. It was spotless. So I wanted everybody. When you came into my house and found my body, I wanted it to be pristine. You know what I'm saying? Like my mind was so screwed up. I did not want to be here. I called two people that I thought cared about me. So both of them were females that I was dealing with at the time. Not at the same time, but at that time. So I called one. She's like, I don't have time to deal with. I can't deal with this right now, and just hung up and blocked. She actually blocked me. After I was telling her how I was feeling, she blocked me. I called another one, and she called the police on me. Police came to my house, and I lied to them. I said, "Oh man, I'm good." They didn't really give a shit. They come knock on the door. Man, you okay, man? Oh, man, I'm good. They were his too. Once them inside my house, they would have seen my gun laying on my sofa. They would have seen. If they did any kind of investigation, they would have seen all kind of things that were wrong. They would give me a red flag. Hey, this guy ain't good. We need to,
Yeah.
get him some help. You get what I'm saying? But they did. They normally do and get gone. But anyway, this guy, he goes to church on Louisiana Avenue here in Lafayette. Uh, Devin is his name. Devin is his name. I had met him 2 weeks prior to that doing something. I think he hung my TVs for me. I had met him through a friend, and he was real big into the church. He was always trying to sell stuff. He's like a, he was trying to sell. I mean, he's a good guy, good family guy. And he called me right in that time period. He called me. And he's trying to sell me something else, trying to sell me some kind of TV package or something. I'm just listening to him. I'm like, that's why this dude's calling me right now. And I was kind of breaking down. I just kind of broke down, told him what I was, how it, man. He's like, man, you don't sound good. What's going on? And I told him what I was going to do. And he said, he was in the church. Him and his pastor, they came to my house. They sat with me. Those letters I had written, he took those. They stayed with me until I was okay for a few hours after that. And I got through that time period. And after that, that's when I really got into going to church and started praying to God, and that's what really, really, really helped me the most. Then I started going to counseling.
Mhm.
Um, and then I just started just slowly just you kind of gotta the Michael Jackson song, you got the man in the mirror, right? You kind of gotta look yourself in the mirror, and you gotta have some tough conversations with yourself, and you gotta kind of get your shit together. It's kind of lack of better ways to say it. I can't um make it no more plainer than that. I mean, nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
You know, you got to work yourself. Um, and that's when I realized I had it was just me, right? I have to save myself. People can lead you to the water. They can lead you to where you got to go. But even in your training, your instructor in martial arts, he can
Mhm.
teach you how to throw the kick. He can teach you how to throw the punch. He can teach you all those things. It's up to you to apply it the right way, correct?
Yeah.
So same thing with this. So um, I took advantage of what was handed to me with God. I feel like God put him in my life for that reason. For that reason. Um, and then I met the owner of the school's name is Mr. Harry Duyon. He's the owner of this place, and he's given me a chance to kind of pour that into other people. You know,
Yeah.
because I truly believe I have a passion for training. I love teaching people. I think doing it through martial arts or physical training is so much of a better way than doing it through drugs or alcohol, even popping those pills that the doctors give you for depression and all that. How about we get in here and we get your body to get yourself physically fit, and physical fitness can lead to mental fitness, and then we got we like a family here. We people have issues, we sit around and we talk about and all that we can do here. Yeah, I'm not saying no good to get professional help yet. We feel accountable, get professional help. But how about we do our due diligence and let's help people. Let's take care of each other. Don't just shun somebody away. Oh, he got that PTSD. That's not no STD. It's not something that you can take a pill and get rid of it. It's something that you got to constantly work on. And I just think the world, us as a whole, we just don't care about each other enough anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's basically the bottom line. If everybody, and anytime I care about somebody that you can get something from, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, there's people in general, because it's easy to care about somebody that, oh well, if I deal with this person, I get this in return. Well, how
Mhm.
about just being a good
Person.
good citizen, good person, see somebody in need, whether it be mental, physical. I know most people don't have a lot of disposable income nowadays because the economy's so bad. But, what's giving somebody $5, $10 if they hungry or need a meal or whatever. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But that's just me. I mean, I think my mentality is few and far between now. I don't think people really feel that way anymore.
Mm.
Everybody's just worried about themselves,
Yeah.
and that's why we are in the place we are now as a society. You know,
Mhm.
um, you got somebody that's got going through things I'm going through. I could have easily chose the other route,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then with my physical abilities, my physical size, and the way I look, I could have been killed by some police officer because I get pulled over or I go somewhere because I'm not mentally stable. I'm doing dumb shit. Police get called, and because of the way I look, I'm gunned down.
Mhm.
They ain't gonna talk. They're not gonna negotiate with me.
Yeah.
I could have easily been there. I could have easily been locked up in jail somewhere. Uh, I could have easily chose the other route to go.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, I don't even know why I chose that route. I know growing up, my dad, I used to always watch him train a lot. With he was a police officer too back home,
Mhm.
and one thing I remember being growing up in that household, he was always training. It would be guys come to our house, other police officers, and I would go watch them train.
Yeah.
And these were black men. And I would look at them in awe. And to me they look like I'm how old I 6, 7, 8, 9 years old at the time.
Mhm.
That time period, and I'm just watching these men who I idolize. Lifting weights, running, shooting. I mean, doing all these amazing things. And I'm just like, these are this is what a man is to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
A man should be. This is what he should be. You know, physically fit, strong. I mean, they were all of them were muscular. You know, these wasn't some. So that's kind of how my eyes will grew to. That is what a man should look like. You know, so that's just me. I'm not saying that's how it should be. I'm just saying that's you know probably why I geared myself towards the physical part than going towards drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. So. So on the flip side, if I had seen drugs growing up, if I had seen alcoholism growing up, I had seen those things, I probably would have turned towards those things. That's what I would have known. But I didn't see that. I saw people working out. I saw people going to the gym. I saw people training in martial arts. I saw people doing so. That's what I veered toward when I had issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, I didn't do the second step, which I didn't go professional counselor. I didn't go talk to anybody. I held all that stuff in, and I would only let it out in the gym. I would let it out in training. I would let it out when we're sparring somebody. I would let it out then. But that was only a temporary fix. I never ever ever got to the root of the issue until recently. So
Okay. I'm going to revert back to your childhood for a little bit.
sure.
So, how has your childhood experience impacted your approach to building and maintaining relationships as an adult?
Well, at first was it was a bad one, because I didn't trust people, and if plus not having people tend not to realize how important a father figure is. I remember seeing my mom and dad interact. That they were arguing in front of us. My dad was always mostly at work, but when he was home, he was even though my mom made more money than he did because she had been a nurse, but he would get the checkbook out first of the month. He would get all the bills, and I would see him he would grab his calculator. I can remember like yesterday, like clockwork,
Uh-huh.
at a kitchen table.
Mhm.
Old school. You couldn't do it on your phone. You had to you
Yeah.
had to go right clicked out. So he had this manual calculator, right? He would have it sitting there, and underneath it would be some legal pads. He'll be writing down stuff. Then on the right side of him would be the bills, right? He would go take the bill. He would go, I guess he's subtracting the balance from the checkbook. They write a check. You had to go to the mail, and you had to mail them off back in the day, right? So
Yeah.
you had to go. You had to have a roll of stamps. You had to have an envelope. I remember this like it was yesterday. He
Mhm.
would take the checks. He'll put them in the envelope. Post office is not too far from our house, so we'll either walk or sometimes he would jog. I'll ride my bike behind him. We'll go to the post office and he'll mail everything off. He'll say stuff to me like, two things.
Mhm.
You can be poor as dirt and be in shape and clean. You ain't got to be rich if you need one of those, right?
Yep.
Uh, my mom would say stuff to me like, God blesses you to bless other people, right?
Yeah.
So, if I become a millionaire one day, that money ain't for you. That's for everybody else. That's the thing that she would say to me. But with that being said, as I got older, once all that happened, I lost that guidance for a long time. I didn't know. So the thing is, a young man should know from a day, I had to learn about women, which I still don't know anything about. But I had to, learn how to handle business. In college, I went to college. My roommate, he had his dad was a state trooper. So and him and his dad would kiss each other, would kiss. They were real affectionate with each other. And I was like, man, I would look at him strange because his dad would come and they would hug each other, and I'm not talking about this all over each other. And he showed him so much love and compassion. I just didn't understand that. But I had to buy my own car in college. His dad bought his car, so we bought cars at the same time. So mine was off my sweat, and his was handed to him. But then we got to a wreck. No, he got to a wreck before I did. He got to a wreck. He called his dad. His dad comes down, takes care of the gets. In a month he's in a new car and everything's taken care of. I
Mhm.
get to a wreck. I have no idea what to do. I have nobody to call, right?
Uh-huh.
I had to figure it out on my own. I didn't know the call. I had insurance, but I just knew to pay the bills. I didn't know
Yeah.
how to call a insurance person to go get the estimate, and the person had to come adjust and give me. I didn't know none of that. I
Yeah.
didn't know. So it's a little thing like that. I didn't start growing hair until I was in college, so I didn't know how to shave. Right. Uh, my college roommate, the one I just said about, she taught me how to shave. He taught me how to take care of a vehicle. He showed me how to keep it clean, check the oil, all those things. I didn't know how to do it because I had nobody to tell me how to do it. Right.
Mm.
Uh, I don't think he even knows this point that he was teaching me these things, but I don't think I ever told him. Um, I didn't know. So it's those things, like you asked me how those things as a child affect you as an adult in a relationship, because I'm looking at people, and I'm so quiet. So now I'm being more observant about things around me. When you're observing stuff, what are you doing? You're quiet, right? You don't talk much. So people look at you like, why he
So,
ain't talking?
yeah.
Something's wrong. But really, I'm just trying to learn because I don't really know what's going on, right?
Mm.
Relationship wise, just we had a big family growing up, but once all those things happened, our family split. So I didn't see my family, so we didn't have family functions or anything like that. So when I got with someone relationship wise that had family functions, I didn't know how you act. I'm just sitting in the corner looking like, well, dang, this is how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was so amazed by just the smallest things because I didn't have that, growing up. Just something simple as having family around. I was like, man, I didn't, I've never had, I hadn't had a family function since I was like 8, 9 years old. So I didn't know how that looked. You know, it's just things like that. When you deal with other people, they think that should be easy for you to do, right? Had that a traumatic experience from your childhood that took away from you those abilities to somebody to show you that or learn that or be in that environment, then how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to adjust to it when I've never been in that situation before?
Mm.
Like being in crowds of people, I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable, talking to people. Um, because you kind of lose a little of your self worth. I mean, me personally, I was told a lot of negative things about myself. Um, so it killed my self image of myself, my self confidence, my self worth. Um, those are things I'm just now starting to get back. So
Mhm. So your communication skills, it was hard to develop those as a child, because of your traumatic experience. So how did you develop those, and what's the difference of how your skills used to be versus how they are now?
emotional part, I still work on that. I don't like to show them a lot, but communicating wise, I mean, just like now, I have students I gotta teach now, so I got to be able to communicate. And I think martial arts helped me in that because even at the police department, one of my jobs was to teach cadets, right?
Mhm.
So I had no choice. I had to be able to communicate, right? That department didn't want to hear no excuses about my childhood trauma. Why can't I communicate to these people on how to do whatever I'm teaching them to do, right? So I kind of had to, crash and burn in that. So I mean, I had to go from being so shy and timid, didn't want anybody to look at me because I felt I was such a unattractive, ugly person because that's what I was told I was.
Mhm.
To now I got to stand in front of 30, 40 people and pretend to be this self-confident, reassuring person when I was none of that.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Inside, I was none of that. I had to project something that I didn't even feel I was. But now I've had to develop that. As far as I mean, like I say, I still got work to do as far as the emotional stuff. Um, it's just hard to trust people with your feelings. Even when we talking on this podcast, um, you're opening yourself up to um
Other people's opinions.
people's opinions.
Mhm.
Um, everybody's gonna have one,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's gonna like, well, he could have, he could have done this, could have done that. Well, unless you're in a situation you don't know. And as a child, no, I remember this happened to me as a child. So as a child, you don't even understand what's going on. For me, I became uh kind of like a recluse. I kind of drew into myself once all that negative stuff happened around me. It's
Mhm.
kind of like, I don't know. I was a Dragon Ball Z fan, right? I still am,
Yeah.
and and I would always veer towards when the characters, when they power up, they have this force field around them, right? And
Uh-huh.
when they transform, they scream, they let out these energy fields. And when they do these transformations, these energy fields surround them. And when they're in the energy field, it's kind of hard for anything to penetrate them,
Mhm.
right? So that's kind of the stance I took. Well, I'm just going to surround myself in this cocoon, this energy field, to where people can't hurt me anymore, right? But in doing that, you know, you really retard your development as far as communicating skills,
Yeah.
emotional skills, relationship skill, all those things you need to develop a relationship. Where, man, I didn't get a chance to develop those,
Mhm.
right? So in the relationship I was in, I didn't know I didn't realize that what I was doing was detrimental to it. I thought I was just being how I needed to be to protect myself. I was being so selfish. I wasn't thinking about the other person. You know what I'm saying? Now I realize, now I will be open to a relationship more so because I realize my deficiencies, right? So now that I know what I was doing wrong all this time, I can fix it, right? I can be self-aware of, okay, I can't be this way. Yeah, and also if my partner is having an issue about, something because of what I'm going through, I can recognize it and I might can help her through it if she listens, you know.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to other children or young adults who have experienced the loss of a parent or both parents at a young age?
If you a child and you're going through and it's something fairly new and I looking at the news, I'm seeing stuff happening all the time. Those children, it's gonna be hard for them to they're gonna have to hopefully have an adult in their life that cares about them enough to give them help. Because they're not gonna be able to get it themselves, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just pray that those children get the help they need. Because they don't get the help they need at that age whenever it happens. I got lucky. I was able to keep my wits about myself and not end up, uh, who I could have been that crazy son that tried to kill Trump not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Because my mind was all messed up.
Mhm.
I just feel by the grace of God that I didn't go that way. I could have gone that way. It was very easy for me just to say, you know what, hurt people. I'm hurt. I'm gonna hurt other people, right? What they say, hurt people, hurt people.
Yeah.
I could have easily done that. I could have easy. It's easy to just let yourself go. Easy to just do that. But for some reason, I just didn't. And I would just pray for those children that somebody in their life, some concerned adult, will get them the help that they need. As an adult, if you're still dealing with trauma from a child, you're gonna have to stop blaming other people, which is what I was doing. I was every time something went wrong, why don't she understand? Why can't she understand me? I am not like it. You know what? You gotta face yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror. You gotta do the work on yourself. You're not a child no more, right?
Mhm.
You don't have the excuse of, oh, this happened to me when I was a kid. Yeah, it happened when you was a kid. And I'm gonna say this. Yeah, people should understand more, right? People should be more compassionate about that. But it's not the reality. It's just not, right? You got so many people that are just walk away from somebody because of stuff and I thought it was so unfair. I was like, man, you can deal with somebody, and then when you tell them about your past, right, they ain't got nothing to do with you. It's about something your parents did, right, or your father did. and
Mhm.
they walk out of your life because they said, man, if this happened to you as a child, there's no way you could be straight now. So they leave you alone. They make a decision to like whatever issue you might have, they don't want to deal with it. So they out the door, right?
Mhm.
I thought that was so unfair. I would be like, man, it's so unfair for me to be penalized because of something that I had nothing to do with, right? However, now that I understand those people who decide to walk away from you because of some kind of trauma that you had nothing to do with, those people aren't the ones for you, right? They walked away from you to make room for the person that is for you. And before you can deal with and damage that person, you need to fix yourself. If you're an adult, you have to do it. And just know it is an ongoing process. You're going to have some great days. And every now and then, you're going to have a bad day. But you need to try to limit the bad days. So they're having a one bad day a week, you try to have one bad day a month.
Mhm.
Then go from one bad day a month to, a couple bad days a year. Is that possible? Yeah, it's possible.
Mhm.
You have to man, you gotta be so much, you gotta be so self-aware of yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to kind
Yeah.
of, I don't know, can you kind of feel things in your side of your body whenever you're having an issue with something? Maybe you can attest to this. Can you feel the change inside you coming on
Yeah.
because you understand yourself now?
Yeah.
So you take steps like, okay, I'm feeling this way. I
Mhm.
feel it coming. So how do you deal with that? Do you stay in your house, stay away from people, maybe go watch a movie, go do something you enjoy, go do something like that, and then that brings you back, you know, mentally where you need to be, so you can continue on with your day. That's how I would tell an adult to deal with it. But the one thing you cannot do is hold it in.
Mhm.
You can't hold it in because it's gonna destroy you. It's
Okay.
gonna destroy you.
Looking back, what do you wish people had known or understood about your situation, as you were growing up?
I don't think them knowing because I mean back then where I'm from, everybody knew. Nobody would talk to me, of course. I
Mhm.
just wish people would have reached out and asked me, was I okay? Instead of assuming if I was okay. That's it. Because I wasn't okay.
Yeah. Your experience with trauma, has that influenced the way you react to other people who's dealing with trauma?
Yes. Because I understand it. I can tell you now one of our students is going through something and she was telling me about it. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that's really not that big a deal. However, to them it is a big deal.
Mhm.
So before I didn't understand it, but now, man, you know, people don't understand how much just somebody listening to you,
Yes.
right? Just you being a listening ear to somebody,
Mhm.
how far that'll go, right?
Yeah.
If somebody calls you who's having a problem, right? You don't understand. People don't understand. You being that listening ear could be the difference between them hanging up their phone and getting help or hanging up their phone and picking up a gun.
Mhm.
I think people need to realize that, you know, stop being so selfish. And if somebody thinks enough of you to call you for help, do your best at the help. And all that probably means is listening.
Yeah. Mhm.
It don't cost no amount of money to listen to somebody. Because I don't think it does at this
No.
point. All right. Um, it don't cost you no money to listen to somebody.
Mhm.
And if they think enough for you to call you because they're going through a tough time, then listen to them. Yeah, that can be the difference between, you don't know what you could be saving them from doing. They could be getting ready to go hurt somebody else.
Yep.
They could be getting ready to go hurt themselves. They could be getting ready to make some real bad decision, some other kind of decision that's going to affect them negatively. But they called you, and your words to them help. Or you just letting them vent to you on the phone or in person or whatever the case may be. So I just really want people just to be a listening ear, you know. don't be so quick to just throw people away when they no, don't be nobody's crutch either. Because at some point in time they gotta kind of walk on their own. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but you know, help them. You know, and if you can't, if you're not able to listen, if you're not able to to be there for them and be that listening ear because you just got your own stuff going on. That don't just be like, oh man, forget this, just throw them away. Say, hey, you know what? I might know somebody that you can talk to. You know what I'm saying? And they connected with that person because you might not can help them yourself, but you might can connect to somebody else that can help. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I would say. Just try to help people. Just being a listening ear to somebody can go a long way. And helping people. And if I had somebody if I had somebody that would listen to me,
Mhm.
and somebody that I could actually talk to, who I felt like actually cared about me, um, I would have been a lot further along, a lot sooner than I am now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it
So,
does. Okay. Is there something that you do to honor your mother in your daily life?
um, what I try to do now is now that I'm conscious of it, I just try to be a good person. That's it. You know, I try to pour into other people as much as I can. To my detriment, I help people. Sometimes I put myself in a bind trying to help other people because that's kind of how she was. She would always help people. So that's what I do now. If anybody needs my help, and it kind of hurts me too because sometimes I don't understand why people don't help people more. I just like, man, if somebody can come for me for help, if it's something I can do within reason, I'm probably going to do it with
Mhm.
no thought of anything in return. I'm not going to help some woman that needs my help, and then because I'm trying to sleep with her later, you know what I'm saying? If she needs my help and she thought enough for me to ask me for help, then obviously she just needs my help. I'm not doing anything for anybody with any thought of anything in return.
Mhm.
Nothing. I'm doing it completely out of the goodness of my heart because I don't know. This is the way I think people should be. Now, I don't know. The world just isn't set up that way anymore. I don't. That's not rewarded, and you don't do it for rewards, but it's almost like you're almost discouraged from helping people nowadays because of
Yeah. I won't say everybody's a user, but it's a lot of users out there.
a lot of users out there, and that's where I have issues. That it's like, do I help? Do I
Mhm.
not? You know, uh, but at the end of the day, man, I just, before my mother go, I don't do anything. Sometimes when her birthday, when the anniversary of her death comes around, I get, a little bit depressed. Um, Her birthday is coming up. I'll get a little depressed. Um, and holiday time is usually when I get the most depressed or I feel down.
Mhm.
Uh, but the last holiday, I went to help homeless people. You know, we had a cold snap down here, and I went around, my own time, own money, picked up homeless people, got them little cheap hotel rooms, get them off the street. You know, uh, I did that, because I believe that's something that she would wanted me to do, to help people as best I could. I ain't have a whole lot I could give, but I can give that. So
Okay. What do you value most in life?
what I value most. That's a good question. I don't think I like the word value. I do think what I hold dear to me most now
Mhm.
is just, I'm older now, so I think the time I have left with the people that are left, like my brother, his kids, you know, we don't. It ain't many of us left. There's me and my brother, his kids, my kids. It's just that's what I hold dear. Just spending time with them, um, trying to pass on my lessons that I learned, to the ones that come behind us. You know what I'm saying? Just um, that's really it. I really don't have. I really don't have much that I think. Man, that's a good question. I just never really thought about that. I never really thought about that. I can say this, with me trying to form myself. I've been through two police academies. I've been through in the military. I've been to all this martial arts stuff. I had a few, amateur fights. I've I've I played college football, and all I've ever had happen to me was like a sprained ankle and a sprain like a I pulled a muscle in my shoulder.
Mhm.
So I could say that I just been kind of lucky
Yeah.
that that's all. Oh, I hurt my left knee. I hurt my left knee one time.
Mhm.
Um, and I could say, man, that might just be a reason why I'm still here. Maybe I'm here to help, or maybe this is the reason why I help. I'm talking to you. I'm helping people as I can through this place. Um, uh, yeah, that's really what I value more. I just really want people to understand this illness. It's an illness, it's a disease, and just how they can and how they can help themselves,
Mhm.
and how they can surround themselves with people that can help each other, right? So that's really all I can say about that one. I have to think about that question again.
In closing, do you have anything else you want to share?
Well, I could say, like I say, just coming together as people. I mean, look at our country now. We're divided by political stuff that's going on. Um, who knows what's going to happen after the presidential election? We got 3 or 4 weeks for that. What, November 4th? Two
Mhm.
weeks maybe.
Yeah.
On November 5th, election day. What's going to happen if Camilla wins? These people gonna go crazy in the street, or what's going to happen if? I mean, we don't know. I would just say that people just need to come together, black, white, blue, green. We just need to take care of each other. I know it's weird coming from a person, that guy looks like this, I guess, but that's really what I think about. I, I don't, I would prefer peace. I prefer things to go smooth. I'm prepared for it not to be peaceful. I'm prepared for things to not go smooth, but I would rather things be peaceful and go smooth, you know? So, um, that's really all I can say in closing. I just want people to understand, you know, people that have had trauma, people that go through PTSD, and a lot of things that we do or have done were not purposely to do to hurt anyone. But, me personally, I can say myself, I've hurt people because I wasn't able to communicate properly, you know, wasn't able to express my feelings properly, wasn't able to deal with, certain things or emotions properly. So I ended up hurting people that only, I can only say maybe a couple were actually only trying to help me.
Mhm.
And because I didn't know what that looked like, somebody can do something for me. I'm just sitting there looking at them like, why are they doing that? It's like, why are they, being nice to me? I didn't
Yeah.
even understand that, but, and I'm laughing now, but, you know, it's just weird that, I had so such of a low opinion of myself that if somebody did something nice for me, I would look at them like there was something wrong with them. Like, why are you being nice to me? you know, like it's such a bad mental place to be in. But that's why I was there for so long.
Mhm.
So if somebody did say they love me, I didn't know what that meant because I didn't love myself. And if somebody did try to help me or do anything for me, why is she doing that? What's going on? What's wrong with you? Why are you trying to help me?
Mhm.
You know? And but that is on me. That's why I had to look at myself and say, me, I gotta do better. And then and improving myself. And then now I can pour that into other people. So
Okay. Well, I will say, I want you to know that you are worthy of love, to be loved properly by somebody. With women, when we care about a man,
mhm.
we do things for them. We buy things for them. If we see they're hurting or if they need anything or if we hear them say, It's something they want, and it can be something that don't cost much, or we just hear them talk about something, like, we automatically will if we're in the store and we see it, we're gonna get it because
Mhm.
that's our man, and that's something we heard him say. Like,
Mhm.
that's what women good women do. I won't say
Mhm.
all women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't ever take what someone is doing for you as as a negative. That's
Mhm.
just they're just showing you love.
Yeah. I'm not like I said, I've only had, I can say I can remember two instances in my entire life where that's happened. Everybody else has been, you know, people that probably shouldn't have been dealing with in the beginning and to begin with. So, but yeah,
Okay.
right.
Thank you so much for joining our podcast.
In a world of change, where do you belong? The answer's clear, it's time to be strong. Mindful growth, that's where we thrive. With Angela's guidance, watch your best self arrive. Transform with strong, reach for